Welcome to Matrix Talk.
Good
We're back.
afternoon.
Just a regular old Matrix Talk. Except today, we're going to talk about the context of democracy. But before, without further ado, let's do a couple of loops. Because sometimes that's what people come here for. And they say, what's the Matrix? Well, one, it's a Keanu Reeves movie, but this is not it.
We're referring to this little diagram right here.
And you start off with you answer a question, who's important to you? So, and you answer it. Now you will notice that there's already a context there. That is, there's senses at the top, mind at the bottom, satisfaction over there on the right, and relief over there on the left. So yeah, you get to that. But the big question is who's important to you. For instance, my wife is important to you. So you answer the question. I mean, if it's your guinea pig that's important to you,
Kids.
great. Kids, grandparents, neighbors,
Never float your boat.
or democracy. Whatever. People
Put that down there.
really important to go with our time. So you say who's important, and if somebody says more of a what, like democracy, fine. It's all in that. It's all part of it. Then in the lower left, you put yucky stuff that shows up in you, like fear. Like there was a lot of people that were really afraid we were going to lose the democracy. We still could. We still could lose it.
Fear of loss of democracy.
Yeah. Fear of all kinds of stuff. Fear is part of life. That's shows up in everybody who stays alive has fear. If you don't have fear, you're dead anyway. You won't get out of the way of trucks.
Yeah.
So but other yucky things are anxiety and depression, stuff like that. So you put that stuff in the lower left, and then in the upper left, you put the stuff you do to get relief. Okay, so from fear, you might run away. Go vote.
I was going to say, vote.
You can vote. Fear, voting for to save democracy could indeed be a relief move. There you go. There's all kinds of other ones. The other things people do is drink and smoke cannabis and all kinds of other stuff that they do to get relief from the yucky feelings. And we're not dissing on any of that. This is not what we do. This is just an observation of life. Okay? And in the upper right, we put the stuff that we do in the service of who's important, or democracy, or whatever. And so, like for my wife, I might get her a cup of coffee.
Get coffee. Kids, you might go play with your kids.
Go play with your kids, right? For your dogs, you might feed them. If dogs.
Oh, yeah.
And for democracy, well, you do the stuff that supports democracy.
Participate.
You participate, right? Democracies are run by people who show up. And we must continually learn that lesson. And so there you go. And then finally, you say, well, what do I do with that? Well, you notice it. That's it, folks. You notice who's important to you, and you notice your yucky stuff showing up, and you notice yourself doing relief moves, and you notice yourself doing satisfaction moves, and voila. No, you ought to be doing anything. We're not even saying you ought to notice, but you could. You might. And you say, well, what do we get out of that? Well, and let's thank Kamala Harris for bringing the word context into broad use, helped by young people and the coconut story. Took me a while to get to the hang of that. She said, we're all born into a context.
Yep.
Bingo. We are. exactly. We're okay. Now she starts, you're born into a family, and that family's in a city or a neighborhood. It's in a city and it's in a state. And, but if you're in some other country where you were born in that other country, right? But here in the United States, we are born into a democracy. Okay. And that's why we named it in the context of democracy. Because if you remove the democracy, you totally blow our context.
It's gone.
And so, of course, you hear about autocracy, meaning auto, one person in charge. Okay. Well, as far as people discussing shared purpose, that really knocks that all asunder, because now all we're doing is doing stuff for the person at the top, follow their commands.
Yes.
We don't have to think anymore.
Nope, it's all laid out for you.
Oh, you're right. And that's just not what the forefathers of this country had in mind.
No.
It's just not. That's not what they had in mind. So, and what they set up all those 250 years ago or so was to set up a democracy where, and Biden said it the other night, we don't have kings here. It's the people who's in charge. Okay. Now there's all kinds of flaws, big money people get in and influence and all that. But at the end of the day, though, we still were born into a democracy and we all know it. And we can voice our concerns. We have freedom of speech as well. And so we can freely talk about our democracy.
Oh, yeah. There's that word, freedom.
And there's freedom. Kamala is using the word freedom a lot. So, and there you go. So when they talk about, now you say, well, why is Kevin and Phil talking about it? I mean, literally the parent group, if you want to call it, for acceptance and commitment training and therapy is www, like what, contextual psychology?
Contextualscience.org.
It's contextual science.
Yeah.
What's that? Well, it's the study of humans behaving in context. That's why contextual science. Because what's that mean? Well, let's say that you observe somebody running. There you go.
Yep.
They're running. But that's a fact. They're running. But essentially, always they're running in a context. And so the context will provide you clues about the running. Oh, the Olympic Games are coming up.
Yes, they are.
Somebody's running in a 100-yard dash or a mile marathon. Ta-da! Now we know the purpose of their running. That's it. You see a person running like crazy in an inner city neighborhood with gunshots going off. Mm-hmm. There we go. That's not Olympic running right there. No. That's survival running.
Olympic running may come in handy, but that's not why they're running.
That's not why they're running. But we know the purpose, right? And now we're not doing the purpose of Olympic running. We're doing the purpose of survival running. Okay. But you might see somebody chasing somebody else, trying to catch somebody else. Well, where? Oh, they're in a game of tag. I see why they're trying to catch that other person. Back to the inner city. They're trying to catch them. Uh-oh. What's going on with that? Notice that these behaviors, and it's called behavioral analysis. You analyze the behavior within context. So that's what Kamala talks about. What us freaking geeks over here in psychology land, we talk about people having an inner context. Okay. And you do. The soul's yucky thoughts and feelings and stuff showing up and who's important to you. And that's why the reminder, Well, who's important to you? And when you answer that question, you just answered a huge question about the purposes of your behaviors, because so many of your behaviors are in the service of who's important, including yourself. Okay. So that's it. So it's contextual. You're you never stop doing this behavioral analysis. If you don't want to, you can do it forever. And from moment to moment, and you're analyzing behavior in context. Okay. And so in democracy, the great thing about that is that it does, and it's by no means a level playing field, let's say that, but at least there's a semblance of it. You know, people can make it out of their circumstances. Not often, but they can. And so you look at it. So the context of democracy is really important for us people who live in a democracy. And along comes, and I'll just say it, it was Donald Trump and his minions started talking about autocracy. We don't need no frickin' democracy. We need a strong man at the top. And it's a leadership model, folks. It's always a debate. The strong man at the top leadership model versus the collaboration, the democratic leadership model. The United States is based on a collaborative democratic model, and they want to replace it with an autocracy.
Follow me.
And if they win, they will. So guess what? That scared a whole bunch of people, including me.
Yep.
Big time. And so that's so what this is about is that fear. Okay. That fear of losing democracy, losing freedoms, because with that, you're going to lose freedom of speech. You're going to lose reproductive rights. You're going to lose just all kinds of freedom. Start reading that 900-page 2025 project. Okay. You're going to lose a lot in terms of freedom. So that scares you. So now I go to why, and anybody watching this on July the 26th, 2024 will know that Biden stepped aside, Kamala Harris stepped in, and whoosh, boom. It's this gangbusters going on. A ton of it's fear, folks. It's so relieving to be able to support Kamala Harris.
Yep.
It's a huge relief. And you see people reveling in the, it's like we're taking drinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's our martini, or vodka Collins or whatever.
Have a couple of snorts.
We're kicking them back and feeling good. Whoa, man, that feels better. Now, part of it is, of course, on her messaging, which has been very good, is also to focus on, well, what can we do together to preserve democracy and all that. But so much of the big blow of her support came straight out of fear. Straight out of it. We know that. I mean, a lot of people know that already, but we can diagram it. And we already started it. Fear of losing democracy over there on the lower left. So that was sitting there. We're still afraid of that. But now we seem to have hope for saving it.
Yep.
And which is, you know what? The biggie now is, you'll notice a lot of people have given money on the average of about $91 a piece. So that she's made, I don't know, listen to different reports, you hear different amounts, but it's somewhere getting close to around $200 million in a week. Well, that's people voting with their money, that have enough money to spend $5, $6, or $200, whatever it is, small donations. And that's people voting, and it feels good. So giving money to somebody who's going to save the democracy it's both a relief move and a
It's on both
satisfaction.
sides, right?
It's both. So that's what we do. We analyze behavior. Okay. We analyze behavior in the context of a democracy. And if Phil and I lose that context of democracy, that diagram really gets a lot different.
Ooh.
It gets all screwed up. The whole enterprise is built on democracy, including the matrix diagram, on the assumption that most of the people who use it live in a democracy, aren't kowtowing to an autocrat. So, not that you can't use it in other places, I'm not saying that, but we use it in the context of a democracy. You know, I don't know about Phil. I want to keep it.
Oh, I'm a big fan of having it hang around.
I am big time for keeping the democracy. And therefore, of course, I'm people, oh, whatever. Whenever they talk about any of Kamala's policies, I personally, like, I know for a fact she wants to keep the democracy. I'm good.
Democracy has been working for me so far, and I would like it to continue.
I'm going for it. Okay.
That's it. Bottom line.
I have absolute. They wrote it down, folks. They wrote it down on the other side that they don't want democracy. They want to take it apart. So that's the choice.
Take away the freedoms.
Yeah, they want to take away the freedom. They
want to reduce your freedom.
So, and I'm not. Everybody knows this. Lots of people know this. So that's what we're up to.
Yep.
So, we haven't had a lot of people on today, but this is for YouTube, especially the title.
Yeah.
The context of democracy.
Right.
So what we live in, and Phil and I are enjoying living in. We talked to a friend from Canada today.
Yeah.
And he was very happy because the Canadians were scared. Right?
They don't even live in America. They're afraid
that their southern neighbor was about to become an autocracy.
Yep.
And they didn't want that. That would really complicate the Canadians' life.
Yep.
They don't want that. So we don't either.
Right.
But we want to keep the context of democracy. So we're just scientifically talking a little bit about what Kamala's talking about. But she would understand everything we say. I'm not trying to say,
no.
But that's what's going on. If you want to matricize it, that's what's going on. Now it feels great to support her and give money that way. And buy a T-shirt. My wife bought a T-shirt today.
Did she?
There you go. The what is it? Merch.
That's the merch. Oh.
So anyway, all of that is both a relief move and a satisfaction move.
Yep.
Those are the moves in life that feel so great when you get those. We call them twofers. When you get both that relief,
you get a little bit of both,
and that satisfaction, all in the same behavior.
Right.
This is great.
Yeah.
And of course, we all keep giving more money or more something or volunteering because the election is not till November.
So. Yeah. And there's your participation part of democracy, because I'm thinking back to, Kevin, when they drew up the old Constitution and they asked Mr. Franklin, well, what do we have here, Mr. Franklin? And he said, well, we have a democracy if we can keep it.
Yes. They knew back then that they had read Plato and others, and knew the demagogues would show up, Donald Trump, and try and take it away.
Take it.
Right. Even way back then, Plato knew that. And so, the only problem with democracy is that it's a bunch of people. And people don't always make the best decisions and stuff.
Well, but they get stuck.
They get stuck. However, the framers of our Constitution, but you can almost say the framers of our context set it up.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, folks, participate. So the other move that you can make, and I have been doing this lately, is go show up to your local political meetings. Go show up.
Yeah.
And the reason we got all them yahoos on the Supreme Court that are turning things around is for a couple of decades, the Christian nationalists and other types have been showing up to local meetings and running the show.
They've been doing this.
And they've been showing up
for this, but they've been doing that.
You can't fault them for that. They showed up. And the people that show up run things.
Get stuff done.
That's it. So it's our own, this is it, our own, I was participated in the lackadaisical, don't show up to these local political stuff. Well, it bit us in the butt.
Yep.
So we got to keep up showing up to local events. If you hear about anti-democratic stuff going on, speak up. Take your fear with you. Here's where you can have fear. I'm afraid of speaking up, but I'm going to speak up anyway because I'm here to save the democracy, or I'm here to support. Maybe not save, it's too strong a word, but if everything goes well, we need to support the democracy and keep it going. Now, if people are disagreeing on whether to build a road or something like that, fine. I mean, that's part of regular old politics. That's that. But I started hearing about people infringing on freedom of speech, voting rights. That's one that's big right now. Locally, we had one where they wanted to do the voter ID cards.
Oh, yes.
Isn't that a great idea?
It's getting popular. Yeah, right.
No. No, it's not, because it's a barrier to voting. No.
It restricts.
It's
your freedom to vote.
That's sneaky. That's sneaky. No. You're not supposed to put barriers to voting. We already have one. You got to be 18.
Yeah.
And you can't be a felon.
That is true.
I say that because of that wonderful line that they put at the top of a thing yesterday. 78-year-old felon shows up and talks on Fox News.
There you go.
And that felon can't vote everywhere. They can't vote in New York, and that's it. So there are restrictions. There are actually restrictions on voting. However, and if you're in prison, you can't vote, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think you can't do it. So there are restrictions. It's not that it's everybody can do it, but past that, what it is in being political, but I'll say it's the Jim Crow laws of the South. Mm-hmm. They wanted literacy tests. And all kinds of other, and they still do that in the South.
Oh yeah, we only want certain kinds of people to vote.
Well, yeah, Republicans,
right? People that think like us.
Right? Yeah, that's the problem with restrictions is when you start manipulating it. So anyway, it can be beat back very quickly if a bunch of people say no, we're not doing that crap.
Yeah,
which is what happened in my community. Nope. That is not going to. Heck, I'm pretty sure there was even Republicans that said, no. That's not cool.
Definitely.
No. But if you don't show up, you don't hear about that stuff happening. and then suddenly you're reading it in the paper that it's
Yep.
already happened. Once something happens, like everything else in life, it's hard to undo it.
Yeah. Well, the genie's out of the bottle. Forget.
Bro, show up. Behavior. We're all behaviorists here, right? Show up.
Actions.
Show up.
Actions.
And that is a satisfaction thing. That's true. It can be scary. Show up anyway. Take your fear and with you and
Show up with your fear.
So there we go. We did it, Phil.
We did.
The context of democracy.
Yeah. Nice.
They get a bunch of people doing the Matrix. Come on. And just don't even do the Matrix. Just answer this question once a day, if you can. Who's important to you?
Check.
That'll
right here. Home base. Right here.
That'll work for you. That really will. Yeah. Now, I understand there's people that have different views than me. But thus far, it seems like what you and I are talking about, Phil, is the majority.
Well, that's been my experience, Kevin.
And in democracies, that's who carries the day.
Yeah.
The majority.
Well, most people like the freedoms they have, and they like to hang on to them.
Yep, they do. We like this democracy. And the only way you get to keep it is to show up.
There you go. Yeah, it's not a guarantee.
I was chastising myself, which is not uncommon. Years ago, I saw a bumper sticker, and it said, "The world is run by people who show up." Well, I didn't get it. Now I get it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a complete show up to your local meetings. That's where it starts. I'm going to vote in the national election. Get your ass down to the city hall and show up to your local meetings. That way, the ne'er-do-well folks can't take over.
Yeah.
And right now, the United States writ large is not in the mood for it. Not with the Kamala thing.
No, just look around. Put your ear to the ground. It's there. It's in the air.
No longer in the mood for that.
Yep.
Christian national autocratic BS.
Telling people how to live their lives.
Well, yeah, picking on, what is it? Childless cat ladies?
Oh, yeah. Oof, man.
Oh, my. Well, people have had enough of that. Well, and the antidote, everybody says, what do you do with the bully? You make fun of him.
Yeah.
That's what you do with a bully. You make fun of them. And you just don't stop.
Nope.
And you have enough people that even if they come bully you, somebody over there standing in the sidelines is making fun of them.
Yeah.
And they can't stand it. Bullies cannot stand.
You start a movement.
You start a movement.
Anti-bully movement.
You're not going to change the bully. The bully's going to be a bully.
No.
But you can certainly have a good time making fun of. And that's what's happening. The bullies are now being made fun of.
Yep.
And by the way, I am sure there's a good dose of relief in that.
Oh. Yes. Anti-bullying works.
To analyze my own behavior.
Right. Yeah.
End of the day, folks, what this is about, what the Matrix is about, is you taking a look at yourself.
Just like this.
That's all. You're just taking a look at yourself. Yeah, no need to chastise yourself. No, just look at yourself. However, as our forefathers taught us, if you want to run a democracy, show up to it.
Take a look at yourself and then go about living.
and that's what I've been doing lately. So I encourage them. So now I'm going to go show up in a moment. I got to tell people I'm going to go show up. I'm going down to remove some bees out of a Masonic lodge.
Yes, yes. You're participating in a process.
And it's pretty apolitical, really. But
Yeah. Yeah, you're not a Mason. You're
I'm not a Mason.
you're doing it for the good of the order.
For the good of the bees.
Right. Good of the bees.
So we're going to go get the bees out of a wall, and then they're doing repairs on the, what do they call them? Halls? Yeah, halls.
Yeah, yeah.
They're doing much needed repairs, by the way. Needs a little bit of love, this building. But the bees have been very happy in it for a couple of decades, apparently. So they're going to get evicted.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, and Kevin's going to do an extraction. He's going to vacuum them out.
Yeah, he's going to vacuum them out. Check YouTube, folks.
Oh, yeah. I should.
People, they really do vacuum up bees
when you go in there. Absolutely.
Right. They really do it. I'm going to go do that. So, but I don't know if that's showing up for politics.
You'll see. You'll see.
Show up for the local politics. So that's it. I don't think did we ever have anybody on today?
Nobody that I could see has been live.
See, that's because this is boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? We're like C-SPAN. We dare to be boring.
That's right. We have a drumbeat of boring going on here.
But folks, do the diagram.
Just show people a point of view. That's it.
It won't be boring.
No.
It won't be boring. So anyway, I want to go catch some bees.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
See everyone. Take care.